Ever since the R-Truth situation, the WWE Universe is questioning every single sudden release from the WWE, and Karrion Kross and Scarlett is no different. I mean, poor Ashanti the Adonis, because Tahuti Miles was also released, and nobody's really saying that. But with Killer Kross and Scarlett, they are definitely wondering if this is real or if this is a work. And WWE is starting to look a little bit like Chicken Little, right? They come out and they say the sky is falling, and, well, we don't know if we can believe you. We don't believe you. We need more people. So the question on everyone's mind is, Killer Kross and Scarlett really released? Stick around. Let's talk about it. Sunday, August the 10th, Karrion Kross and Scarlett were moved to the WWE alumni section, sparking a huge buzz around whether or not this situation is actually a work or is it legit. And it is pretty much right down the middle, like Bill Alfonso, with people. Some people believe it is real, some people believe it is a work. I'm going to do my best to break this down like a shotgun and let you know my opinion of whether or not this is a work. You will find out my answer at the end of this video, so stick around. But until then, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, hit the like and subscribe, and we're going to talk about Killer Kross. The video that you heard, or the song that you heard at the beginning of this video, was a song that was recorded for him to use. And he has stated that he's waiting around for the right moment to use it. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he used it for the Chris Bay benefit show, the Benefit show that they did through 5-Star Wrestling in Las Vegas, Nevada. He may have used that song, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So the song you're hearing now is still unused in a wide spread way. He has not used that as his theme. He's not changed his entrance, etc., etc. So Karrion Kross is gone. He's got his merchandise on Pro Wrestling Tees. He's focused on his new book, Life is Fighting, that is out now, and you can order autographed copies. You can also get the audiobook. That is available. Seems to me that Kross and Scarlett are off on the next part of their journey. They hit a crossroads, pun intended, and now they're moving on to the next chapter in their life, seemingly away from the WWE. If you watch the documentary that clocks in a little over an hour, about an hour and 11 minutes, a wonderful documentary that you should definitely go check out, The Killer Part 2, where Karrion Kross details events leading up to and concluding SummerSlam. So what happens at the lead up to SummerSlam and what happens just after SummerSlam, where he is just that much more close to being released. He hopes that he's not going to get released. In the entire documentary, I never heard him talk about AEW, GCW, MLW, NWA, NJPW, Bloodsport. He never mentioned another promotion in the entire documentary. And things that he said often were that he hopes he will be around with the WWE for the rest of his career. So, no love lost there. However, the WWE is apparently confiscating We Want Kross signs as of this past Monday. They have pretty much written him off of TV. So all programs and storylines that had progression potential, all nixed. There were a few hints of Karrion Kross on Raw. The New Day said TikTok. Adam Pearce said Kross. I mean, there's a few that were subtle, and some, you can stretch a little bit, but for the most part, Karrion Kross was not mentioned. The Quebec crowd never said we want Kross, which was something that I was hoping that we would see. So, as a Karrion Kross fan, it's tough to figure out where we are with the future of Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross, in my opinion, is gone. Killer Kross will reemerge. And when Killer Kross reemerges for whatever company he goes to, that is when the buzz will really rev up. He could shave his head. He can hit the goatee. He can come out with the new music like what you just heard. But real, unhinged Killer Kross is going to be out to make a statement. He's going to be hungry. That is the type of character. This is the type of motivation that can potentially get Killer Kross back in the WWE if that's what he so chooses to do. I mean, for all we know, Killer Kross could show up in AEW on Wednesday. It's possible. And if that happens, man, did the WWE give away a golden goose, a golden egg, a golden ticket. They gave it away to the competition, and the momentum and the pendulum proverbially swings. Now, look, I'm a Killer Kross fan, so look, you can't fault me for my opinions and also my perspective, what I see in this talent. However, I am a realist, and I understand that the momentum that Killer Kross has is solely based off of the internet, but it's bleeding out, and more fans are starting to feel it. And I think that after a while, what you're going to see is you're going to see that groundswell of support that he is receiving, mostly online, start to permeate through audiences, through arenas, and it'll start to grow. And I think that Killer Kross coming out and not having to deal with some executives telling him to play off the chants, which is what you heard in the documentary, telling him to go 8 minutes instead of potential 12 minutes where he can really truly tell the story. When he can go and be himself, I think that's when you're really going to get to see the real Killer Kross. The Killer Kross that apparently, if you listen to him, there's a lot of people in that locker room for the WWE, and I'm not talking about the wrestlers, that didn't want that Karrion Kross to shine. So where does he go? Now, I've heard countless people speculate about whether this is a work or a shoot. I think there are some aspects of this program that are absolutely true. I believe them to be the truth. But I also believe that the window will be open for a return. I think they're setting this up for a potential storyline. Whether it pans out or not, the way that they've set it up, they can never do it and move on to something else, and nobody's going to be waiting hand and foot over it. Or if it comes out like it's an actual storyline, we can start going back over the tapes and piecing it all together. So I think my final word on the situation is I think Killer Kross and Scarlett show up in Triple A. Killer Kross has a wonderful relationship with Conan, very familiar with Disco Inferno through their ties from 5-Star Wrestling in Vegas. I think this is a wonderful opportunity for him to reinvent himself and build up that momentum and shed some of what happened with the Karrion Kross character. Karrion Kross character is gone. I believe this is the last we will ever see of the Karrion Kross character. Maybe for now. I mean, there's nothing that's definite, but I think for now we see the end of Karrion Kross. That was his final testament. That pun was strongly intended right there. Strongly. And I think he goes to AAA, like I said, maybe adds Vincent and Dutch to this group. I mean, you can see in the documentary, he was speaking with fans at an autograph session for his book, and he did mention that Vincent and Dutch and Kross were optioned for a Bray Wyatt universe type of a situation where they would have been an extension of the Wyatt family, of the Wyatt Six, and they would have operated on a different brand from what the Wyatt group would have been a part of. Just like this whole universe, I can only imagine. I think his name is Jason Baker, the guy that helped Bray Wyatt conceive of some of the storylines, and I'm sure that he was in a room where there was a lot of creative discussion going on. This was like a live action comic book that I'm sure that they were discussing behind the scenes. So you can definitely speculate that Kross and Vincent and Dutch and Scarlett will come together in some form or another if and when we see Kross hit the independent circuit. And like I said, I do believe that he keeps close ties with the companies that are WWE adjacent, like AAA, like TNA, potentially NWA. I would love to see him in Pro Wrestling Noah. That's one of my favorite Japanese wrestling promotions currently. When I get a chance to watch them, I'm always checking them out. I love Jack Morris. I think he's got a heck of a talent there. I love Jake Lee, who I've seen in Pro Wrestling Noah a few times as well. So I would love to see Kross in that world and framed in that. I'd love to see Kross unhinged. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing here. Killer Kross can return, and who knows, at Triple Mania, maybe there's going to be a video segment, maybe a promo segment where the hair gets chopped off, maybe it gets shaved off, maybe we go back to Killer Kross with a bald head, with the music that I played at the beginning of the video. Maybe we see Killer Kross with Scarlett in a way that we have always dreamed of seeing, but he was tied to this Karrion Kross character that never really got its footing after Vince McMahon got a hold of it. So it's time to bury it. It's time to release it. And I think that there's some sort of that just happened, and we're witness to it. And look, at the end of the day, no matter what happens, because I've been wrong for my predictions, I've been wrong for my speculation, I've been wrong for my theories, and I'm okay with that. I'm a wrestling old head. I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. But I think the most important thing to take for this is that it's the wrestling, it's pro wrestling, and it's fun. And I think it's more fun when we don't see it coming. So enjoy the speculations, enjoy the theories, try to avoid the spoilers, and enjoy the ride. I'm the Wrestling Old Head. You have entered the portal of pro wrestling. Thank you guys again so much for stopping by and checking this video out. If you don't mind, hit a thumbs up on the way out. Go ahead and subscribe, because here in the portal, you never know when I'll pop out and drop some hotness. This is the Wrestling Old Head. Stay tuned for more.